The purpose of this class, and every year, this is the 4th year I've taught it, is for publication. So their work is done very intensely with IRB and high levels of ethics. So if you're one of my students and you've read journal articles, you know that there's a lot of pressure on them, but again, I wouldn't have asked them to be here today if they weren't ready. So without further ado, please share about your work.
Hi, my name is Ali. I am one of the seniors at Dr. Montecalvo for Senior Seminar. We started this project in the beginning of the semester in January. Actually November, because we started ahead of time. It was only 2 of us in the beginning until we had a group of 5 later on within late January. And topic-wise, what had been given to us was the college experience and health, and what was everyone's experience at the time, not only this college, but universities and other colleges in the city as well. And we did a significant amount of work coming up with questions and how we're going to push these questions out and how we're going to get these answers to be done by other students. And we also wanted to aim towards a goal for an answer so we can create a journal and let the people know out there and let students and future students know as well what's really going on in all colleges and universities.
My name is Stephanie Black. I'm a junior in Senior Seminar. So I figured I would just start off with the purposes of the study. So our purpose was to help future college students make more informed choices about their academic career. And we had 3 main objectives. The first one was to collect college students' experiences. The second was to capture self-reporting data to evaluate social and financial support as a predicator to the influence of college achievements. And the third one was to capture self-reporting data to evaluate physical and mental wellness as a predicator to the influence of college achievements.
My name is Jason Jenkins. I'm a senior for this class. Just to continue along with the study, we used online recruitment. We also used SurveyMonkey as a way of recording data for our surveys. And after we did that, we also began to look up academic journals to base some of our other research on. So 3 of our major, studies with Derek Bach, Elizabeth McGrady, and Patricia Forbes. We found that most of what they had put out for us enabled us to get some good results and ask ourselves some important questions.
Hello, how y'all doing? My name is Javon Danberville. And our study mostly was on college experience. So one thing that stood out from the results of it was the fact that almost 93% of the people thought that parents should be more informed about college when it comes to having their child, transfer from high school to college, being a young adult to, a full adult. So that was one thing that stood out to us.
So a major part of the study that I worked on was recruitment. The total number originally that we were supposed to have recruited was 1,000 surveyors. Our numbers actually reached 279 surveyors. Some of the limitations were just due to the time that we had to recruit, as well as the locations in which we were recruiting.
Jason, can you share a little bit about how many actually opened up your study? Because you have 279 completed, which is a very successful study.
So the total number of participants that opened the survey was 285, and 279 is the number that actually finished the survey to the end.
And did you have any incentives for your participants to take your study?
So there were no incentives. There was no money that was associated with the survey.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
A major part that I worked on for our survey, I also helped with recruitment, but I mostly worked on analyzing the results.
Okay. And what have you found so far in your results? Because I know we've been crunching numbers way into late hours.
Yeah, so Javon before mentioned about the parents being more informed. Another thing that we saw was 66% of our people that took our survey were female, and 34% of them were male. 59% attended college when they were 18 years old, and 24% attended when they were 17. So a majority of them started around the regular time, usually right after high school. Another result that we came across was 67% went to private school and 31% went to public. We had other choices that they could choose, such as private and public, vocational, and military.
Thank you.
My crucial role in this this project, right, was to find 100 journal articles, and was broken up into 4 categories, which would be socio-emotional health, academics, demographical, and transitional development.
And so you mentioned there were 3 insightful researchers. One of them was Derek Bach. Can you tell me a little bit about him?
Sorry about that. So Derek Bach is the author of Higher Education in America. He speaks about the strengths and weaknesses in American and higher education today. He provides a thorough insight of the entire education system, from community colleges to great universities. His main motive is to determine the criticism in higher education are exaggerated and which issues the general concerns of what can be done and improve matters. And in the beginning of the semester, Dr. Montecalvo gave me this book. It's a really good book. I mean, I read half of it. All right, I read half of it, but I could not finish reading this book because we only have 58 days to do this study. And she's been telling me, read the book. And I did not know at the end she will ask a question about this. And there's another author too as well I would like to mention, McGrady and Forbes, but more stressed on McGrady and Bach more than Forbes.
And the reason why I really pushed for the group to really investigate Bach, if you're not aware, Bach was a president of many colleges over his tenure, but he was at Princeton University for a very long time. And Derek Bach talks about being more aware that higher education is a business. And it's interesting as an academic to have that conversation that higher education is a business, and that if you're consuming the business, how do you consume it properly? So that's why I really encouraged it. But that's enough about me. Javon, please share a little bit about the work that you did in your study.
Well, along with Stephanie, I was a data analysis person. So I was definitely recording a lot of the data that was coming in through the surveys.
And while you were doing all this data analysis, did you have IRB approval? What was that process like?
Oh yeah, the IRB approval was a little confusing to me a little, but we had to go through a lot just to do a survey and have it like officialized. So yeah, that was a lot.
Do you feel that you have grown in your progress and understanding of ethics and how you treat protected information now that you've done this research?
Yes, I definitely do, especially from the answers that a lot of people gave out. So something to keep my mind open to.
Is there anything else in your conclusions or something else that you'd like to share about your research study? I know you're still doing data analysis. This group is actually working way into May, as the other research groups are, because we are working on publication, and lots of editing is happening. But is there anything else that you would like to share with our lovely audience?
I'd like to add some of the significant results that we found.
Absolutely.
So just as previously stated, we had a question, and it spoke about parents knowing more about the college transition period for students. And so 93% of the surveyors said that they do believe that parents could be better informed about the college transition. And I think it's important to note this because I feel that depending on which high school setting you came from, coming into a small college or a large college, having a conversation with a parent would make it easier, make the transition easier in the long run for the student. So, some new experiences that they may not have expected to have, or, just certain things that they just did not know or they hadn't spoken about might have made mental and physical health easier for the student. And I think that overall, a lot of times we see college as a time of finding ourselves and like having these new experiences. So a lot of times parents leave it up to the child, to find themselves and go through these experiences as a learning process. And so if the parents can be more informed and share some stuff with their children, it might be better in the long run. especially graduation rates and like drugs and alcohol. These are all things that I think could be affected by students knowing more and speaking to their parents for the transition.
Did you find some data or information when it talked about experimenting with drugs or sexual behaviors or other developmental milestones?
We actually didn't get into that type of data, but I think now having seen the results of the study, I think that's definitely something that we should pursue.
So that would be future research you'd want to do?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone in the audience have questions about the research?
If you say 93% of surveyors agreed that parents can be more informed about the college experience overall, do you have an idea of the educational level of these parents? Was that included in the survey?
So there were questions that we did ask whether or not you attended college. To take the survey, you did have to attend college?
No, I mean for the parents, like what their educational level was. Did you ask the question, who you were questioning, their parents' educational level? Because I think if the parents really aren't educated, maybe that contributes to these results here.
That's definitely interesting. We didn't actually have a question set up to find out the level of education for the parents at large.
That would be a really interesting finding. And I think part of this research is that as these students become authors and do this work, is that we hope that this turns into a book that really becomes a guidebook for families and communities, especially communities like here at St. Francis, where many of our students do not come from families of privilege, who don't have enough of social and economic capital, and that hopefully, we can expand upon this and sort of create a sort of who's who or how to go to college when you are the first generation and you don't have some guidance. And I think the hope out of the film and Brother Greg and all the work we've really worked on in transformation this semester is mentorship. It's really been mentorship. If you don't have it at home, for whatever reason, where do you have it? So we did a research study about vaping and college experiences. And then we'll have, after that, one final group talking about recreation in nursing homes. So why don't we start? You can introduce yourselves. I think you have a mic there. No, I'm going to give you this mic. And you can introduce yourselves. And why don't you share with the audience the work that you did on your specific area of the study?
Hi, my name is Erica Park, and I am a senior. Well, and I worked on, in the beginning, I worked on creating the questions to do this research. And towards the end, I'm currently working on analyzing the results for vaping. Thank you.
My name is Pamela Zwerkig, and I also helped Erica with the questions as well. And when it came to the recruitment, I was helping recruiting people. And currently, I am working on the literature review.
Hi, my name is Aman Singh, and I am also a senior graduating from St. Francis College. I am Montecalvo's senior seminar class, and we did vaping. And currently, I am working on finalizing the final poster along with Casey right here.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Casey Lorilla. I'm a senior student in St. Francis and majoring in healthcare management. And I'm doing coordinating everybody that everything goes in plan. And as Aman said, I'm helping with them with a poster. And that's it.
I'm Carl Bastian. I'm also a senior in Dr. Montecalvo's senior seminar class. I mainly do the recruiting for the vaping group, as well as analyze the data with Miss Erica Park. And you go.
So why don't you start off telling us a little bit about the purpose of your study and why you did this research?
Our study is on vaping. As a lot of you might have noticed in the past 10 years, vaping has increased its popularity dramatically over conventional cigarettes. And there are many reasons for that. So we continue to study that in order to better understand the attitudes, the behaviors, and the knowledge of these vapor users, and to test their knowledge of the ingredients that are included in these vaping devices.
Can someone from your group talk about the methods that you used?
So the methods we use is basically online. So we created a survey online, and we focused on social media such as Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where we basically advertised our survey for college students to take it. And we also reached out to other colleges as well so they could share it to their students.
And did you go through an IRB process? Did you go through an editing process for your questions? Can you share a little bit more about that section of your methods?
So we did receive approval from the Institutional Review Board, and we did get also consent to send out our research amongst the the metropolitan area, and it's mobile, so you can do it with anywhere within the United States. And we also use SurveyMonkey to get our study across, and including the questions as well.
Did you use any modalities to get the recruitment into different communities? How did you get the information to those populations?
Yeah, so we mostly use the top social media sites, so including LinkedIn, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well. Several posts that had our link on there to take it, and we just had to make sure if you were age 18 years or older, you could proceed to take the survey.
And during your creation of the questions, did you get any outside research or support picking the questions, or did you pick them out of the air? Tell the audience a little bit about how you chose some of your questions.
For our question, we did objective mapping. So we all of the questions are checked and make sure everything is aligned to our objective, like the knowledge of the student about vaping, knowledge about ingredients, health implication, and the other one is knowledge and their behavior about vaping.
So in your short time that you recruited, how many participants did you recruit?
So we have a total of 309, but the only participant that is, the only participant that is, what do you call that thing? Here you go.
We had a total of 309 open surveys, but in total we had 226 completed surveys from which we collected our data.
So you had a high attrition rate of number of people who dropped out or didn't put in accurate information. What would you attribute that drop from?
First of all, there were no incentives into taking our survey. So there was no raffle, there was no prize giving or anything like that. Second of all, there was a very short time crunch we had. We had a total of 24 days in order to collect all of our data and have people fill out our surveys.
And can you share with us a little bit about your results?
So yes, the results. So we got multiple results from the survey, including the amount of respondents. So about 220 people respond to like question 1 and so on. And in terms of the results, you have to be 18 years or older once again to take the survey, and including that, there was about I'd say a minimal attrition rate for that, including the gender question. So it seems like there was a lot more female who took our survey that answered yes as opposed to male. So it's like a 2-to-1 ratio. And the average for people who took the survey, they were mostly 22. Well, the average is 22 years old, and mostly 20-year-olds took the survey as well. And it was interesting about question 8 in regards to the question regarding how would you define vaping. Most people would say that it's smoking, as opposed to like the conventional cigarette smoking. And a lot of people, in regards to question 9, did experiment with vaping within the last year or so.
So I know some of you in this group also have worked with Tobacco Free NYC and actually went to advocate with senators earlier this semester, and I believe some of you have actually gone more than once to work with our senators about tobacco education as well as vaping education. Can you briefly share your experiences?
Yeah, so we did work with Julia Cuthbert-Stone. She's with NYC Smoke Free here in Brooklyn, and would go to Albany at the Senate to lobby, like as a lobby group, to advocate for strict tobacco regulations and make most of the New York City area tobacco free. And we just pushed for that throughout the whole entire day, met with different senators, aldermen, and people who represent the metropolitan area. So just a small taste or anecdote of what we actually did. Just once again, try to push for the tobacco-free campuses within school. I know that Brother Greg and Dr. Montecalvo is working on that project as well, to probably raise the age limit to purchase tobacco products, and etc.
So also today in the news, there was information that came out about Juul and Juul uses, which I am not familiar with. Can someone from your group enlighten us about that?
So basically, the FDA is after every Juul company. They want to get more information about what ingredients they put into Juuls, how they actually make the Juuls step by step, and also what basically their whole entire business plan, like what is their age requirements, like what target group are they trying to get. So the FDA is after every Juul company, and also the FDA also went after eBay because they noticed that Juul products are being sold there. So eBay is currently taking down every Juul product that there is.
Can you share with the audience what a Juul is? Because there may be a group of us that have no idea what that is, or even what vaping is.
So Juul products are basically, if you've seen it, it literally looks like a flash drive. So that's why it's been popular, especially for students, because they could easily hide it in schools. Teachers, parents, they would think that's like a flash drive. So currently, even there are some schools that are actually putting vaping detectors. So if a student goes into the bathroom and starts smoking, they will be detected really quick.
As per our results, we did realize that a lot of students did vape inside/outside as well. It's almost like an even number. And to contribute to vaping, so basically it's just any electronic nicotine delivery system. So I know some vapes or modules do not have nicotine in it, but just the form or act of smoking without the conventional cigarette, to answer your question about vaping.
And you have 4 sections of results. Can you conclude with just sharing us what those 4 graphs are on your poster?
On the first graph, if you look at the top right, is the undergraduate students that experimented with vaping. So our first step was to find out actually how many students do vape, undergraduate college students. If you look at the results, 53% of them have experimented with it, close to half, but a little more than half. So if you look at the second one, nicotine usage frequency, a lot of people, even though ENDS product stands for electronic nicotine delivery systems, a lot of people actually rarely use nicotine in their delivery system, mostly because we've realized that, even from our literature review and stuff, that most frequently people use electronic nicotine systems in order to quit or try to reduce their usage of conventional cigarettes. So most of them will rarely use nicotine in their systems. The next one, motivation for vaping. The 3 highest motivations for vaping, most people, will be stress, for fun, and the last one will be other, which included many other systems that people didn't discuss, but mostly is for fun and for quitting conventional cigarettes. Last one, recommending vaping to friends. Only about 25% of the people said yes, they would recommend it to friends. Others said no.
So did you ask any questions in regards to, one, how did they start it, and then if they had in contact with these videos on social media?
So yes, we did. So one of our questions was, what is your number 1 motivation for vaping? And we had an option for other, for fun, social events, stress from school, to quit cigarettes, stress from home. And most of them said for fun, basically. So people basically, they probably get peer pressure. They see their friends do it, so they think it's a fun thing to do. So that's where their motivation would start.
And did they see any videos about it? Do you have any comments? I don't know if you guys have a question comment, but did anyone say anything about social media videos online?
No, we don't have that type of question in regards to if there's any tools or any outside sources that would implement them to continue to vape. But we did ask if you have vaped, or what was your motivation to vape. So I guess I would fall under the fun category or the peer pressure category.
based on this research, do you think that vaping will be more prevalent in the future, or it's pretty much bottom, reached a level where it's just going to be where it is? Do you see more younger people continuing to, more people vaping?
I mean, in lieu of the events, so like the FDA seizing most of these vape shops, in regards, maybe if the truth comes up about what type of chemicals are being put in it, should prevent it, but I don't see any type of decrease or yield to most of the students or younger generation using vapes. I can only see it increasing even more.